All right, let's get some work done. There we go. See if I can do this without screwing up the camera. That's a little better. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? What's going on in your neck of the woods? Not much has gone on here. I've been working on this cube all day. I had a good chunk of it done already. It's going to be a 15 by 15 by 15 row cube. So we'll see. It's only 18,900 and some odd rings. It's like, I can tell you exactly how many it'll be. Hang on. Nope, not that. 18,299. I was only off by 600. So, I don't know how many rings I've done so far. I know that I've got a long way to go. Why is this so loud? My pretzel rocks is back up and working again, so that's nice. It's nice to have music without having to rely on royalty-free music from YouTube that gets interrupted by ads after every song. It's like I don't pay for YouTube Prime or whatever it's called. Premium? Well, I just hopped on. How many viewers do I have? 255. Cool, cool. How you doing, Louie? What's going on with you? Why is no one tabbing the screen? So I don't know. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna hazard a guess, but if I verbalize it, I don't want to be penalized. So, for those of you who've never seen me before, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I make chainmail. And I recently just finished up this giant cube over here. Unfortunately, my display for it did not work out. So it's sitting here, waiting for me to figure out what to do with it. Basically, I'm going to build a base for it. Oh, good Lord. It's 30 pounds where it sits like so, right? So I got to build something for the bottom. Sorry if that shakes the camera. On today's episode of Yes, This Takes Hours of Work. That's right. It does. Danny Eaker, how you doing? So I'm finally, okay. Doing good. Got called into the second job after a full 8. Finally relaxing after a 13-hour day. Well, put your feet up, buddy. Appreciate you popping in. Yeah, in this big cube over here, I probably have somewhere between 400 and 500 hours. So, a lot of that was, well, 150 hours of that was correcting mistakes, and all of the black and stainless rings I had ordered for it were out of round. And that probably took me about 6 weeks to correct each and every ring of the black and stainless. So that was fun. But I grinded through it. I got it done. Now I just need to make a display for it. So, and I want to use a different media, right? One of the things, when you look at it, it's kind of confusing what you're looking at because everything is chainmail. The two different colors kind of help differentiate the big rings from the little rings. And the ball bearings kind of help break up the visual of the cube itself. But if I were to do this again, I would have used solid rings for the small blackened stainless ring. Chains of the small blackened stainless chains of Byzantine here, right? So I think that would have broken it up visually better. Lesson learned. And you picked up a few hours of the old job tomorrow. You said you'll come in when you wake up. There you go. It's like, yeah, I'll be there, but I'll be there when I get there. Yep, don't, you know, hurt yourself for a job, man. What do you want to see, Double D? You want to see the big cube up close? Okay, it's going to be easier for me to grab my phone and bring it over to the cube than it is for me to grab the cube and try and hold it up to the phone. All right. Ugh. Sorry if this makes anyone nauseous. But that is the cube. You can see the ball bearing in there. And then there's 4 ball bearings up top. And the weave used to make these is called sandworm. And then you've got all the little blackened stainless chains on it, holding all the big sandworm rings together in place. It's not like this is going to be a cube as well. If you see, there's 4 rings going through every interior ring, right? It's the same weave with this cube, right? But these sandworm rings, the big rings that I used, they're not round, so they don't hold themselves in place like so, right? The rings in this cube that I'm holding up don't slide past each other. These ones were, and so I added the blackened stainless chains to hold everything in place, and that added a ton of weight, but it made it work. So, all right. Hang on, I'm missing some comments here. Astrid, how you doing? Excuse me. And made it clear you're not working a full 8 there. This is just funny money. Take wifey for, there you go, for a welly. One of the chefs you work with now works at Gordon Ramsay's and can help get a table for Wellingtons. Nice. Thank you for the, what is that, a heart? You're saving up for a table or a kitchen table for it. There you go. Thanks, Double D. Appreciate it. If you want the tack, well done, if that's what you're going for. Life is broken. How you doing? It looks so awesome. Thank you, Astrid. You're exhausted? I'll bet. Thank you for the heart, Sil. Astrid is currently pulling duty out at, is it the Kansas City Renaissance Festival? Making chainmail. She makes awesome stuff. You should give her a follow if you like chainmail and Renaissance Festival related items. So, where are you taking me? You heard Gordon Ramsay? No, Louis taking his wife to a Gordon Ramsay place. I don't know of any Gordon Ramsay places. Yeah, Louis, have a good night. Appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, go get some Wellingtons from Gordon Ramsay. I don't know if I've ever had beef Wellington. I don't even know if I know what it is. I am what you would call, what do you call it? ignorant when it comes to food. Like, if it's not burgers, steak, pizza, top ramen, Kraft macaroni, I don't know. Probably your closest is over in Naperville? Right on. Close friend worked under Ramsey. It's like, I watched, what is it called? Chopped and Top Chef or whatever. And they're cool shows, but I have no idea what they're doing. It's beef tenderloin wrapped in prosciutto and mushroom pate and puff pastry. Oh, nice. Okay. You know what? I think I do know what that is. Very aware of Naperville. Used to tromp around that area as young as 20 years old. I'm sure I've been to Naperville. I just didn't know that I was there. I have a vague sense of where I'm at. I've only lived in this area for 10 years, but I don't know half of what I should. A Chicago transplant from New York. Right on. So, this is what I did all day. But here's an interesting thing. Here's the story. Okay. I was going around on the clock app. We dropped my mom off there for one of her conferences before we lived here. Okay. I have a vague memory of that. And I was watching someone stream, and they were using rings, and they were closing them. Here's the ring, right? You can see it in my hand. I'm not making this up. Okay, already pre-opened. And this is stainless steel, right? And they're closing them with their fingers. This one doesn't want to close. I closed it, but the edges are overlapped, right? But I just close that with my fingers. I shouldn't be able to open and close this with my fingertips, right? So I asked him, who'd you buy it from? Where'd you get it from? Blah, blah, blah. I got it off of Amazon, told me the store and whatnot. And then when I was shopping around on the Ring Lord, Kissity, Kissitty, over on Amazon. It says, well, it said on Amazon that it was 304 stainless steel. Earlier when I was shopping around on the Ring Lord, where one of the suppliers I get my rings from, and I saw softened, annealed. Annealed is the word for softened when you're talking about metal, right? They had annealed 304 stainless. I haven't tried the Ring Lord's annealed stainless. I probably never will. I probably never will, right? Soft stainless doesn't do anything for me. I want something that's going to close and then stay closed for 500 years. I don't need rings that are open, that you can open with your fingertips. And I wanted to mention these. This for anyone watching who's thinking about getting into chainmail. There are multiple chainmail suppliers out there in Canada, in the United States, in the UK, in Austria, in Australia. Just be careful where you get your rings from. This stuff takes a long time, okay? And I don't want you to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and grab rings off the shelf, or go to Amazon and get some cheap jump rings and think you're going to make something that's going to last for forever. Okay? It's not good long term. Yeah, no. Alright, there are at least 16 suppliers for chainmail supplies. Your northern suburb transplant to Texas and then to Wisconsin, yeah. Thanks for the follow, appreciate you. How did the other Jely Cube hold up after that photo session with the giant cube set on it? Oh, that other thing's not a Jely Cube. That's a thing. Right? And someone said there's a dude that uses a ring. Yeah, the finger rings that people use, I've seen those. I've never used one myself. I've heard, you know, different opinions on it. But yeah, hang on. Yeah, this is what I had. I took some photos of this giant cube over here, and this is what I had displayed it on. Right? And it's just this monstrosity that kind of came together into something. Like, it needs refining. Right? You want to see a finished product, DJ? How about a 30-pound Jely Cube? There's no jelly. It's just a rigid cube at this point, but... Actually, I'll show you how I had this displayed. Ta-da! Looks like a bouquet of flowers. Excuse me. I took out the cable that was in there because while I was screwing around with, this was supposed to be suspended by some galvanized pipe that I got from Pipe Decor. Pipe was great. It looked good. The idea was good. But I tore up the cable trying to get it set, and I couldn't center it, and then the pipe was giving me attitude. Then once that cable was torn up, I can't get another cable through here. I had to build this around the cable. And in hindsight, a welded chainmail chain would have been a better choice. A solid metal rod would have been a better choice. It just didn't work out. So where are we at here? Loving Astrid's new post. Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, where was I? Other finished products. Here. I didn't make two of these. Here's some finished stuff. I bought these two from other chainmail artists. These two over here, I made. Here's my monkey fist. Little chainmail hockey puck spheroid thing I made. There's glow-in-the-dark BBs in there, but they don't glow in the dark very well. All right. Dixie Mason, how you doing? How does what work? What are we discussing? Currently cooking turkeys from last week's fair. Nice. Now, I have heard a rumor back when I had a bunch of stuff commissioned for sale at the Texas Renaissance Festival. I'd heard that the turkey legs were actually emu legs. Oh, thank you for the dinos, babe. Appreciate you. How do the chains and stuff come together? Okay, so you start with a pile of rings, individual rings, or in this case, a Coffee Mate creamer container full of rings. And you get you some pliers. I'm not supposed to be using those on camera. Those are like super top secret. You get you some pliers. Like these are Zurons. And you open one ring, you weave it into your pattern, then you close it up, and you do that over and over and over again in various patterns, and you'll eventually end up with some kind of finished product of some kind. But it is literally one ring at a time. I don't remember how many exactly, but this cube has 41,000 plus rings in it. Debone it and freeze it, and it's great. Then use a turkey for broth. Nice. Use what you have as containers for storage. Yeah, exactly. It's just a rumor. It's just from a male turkey. Oh, okay. Nice. So it's not even emu legs. It's just a turkey leg. I gotcha. But yeah, so, and there, like I was saying previously, there's a lot of chainmail ring suppliers out there. Be careful what you get from the big box craft stores and from Amazon. Order you some rings, and then I like Zurons. They're very good pliers. I've got some Wubbers here. These have been good. I've had these for 15 years, probably more. And these are like pliers out of my grandpa's junk drawer. So, but they do have specialty pliers out there. And I always blank on the brand names. It's not Lineman's pliers, it's not Lindemann's pliers, it's something, but I need to write them down and keep them on a list in front of me. And then different, I have some, are they in reach? No. Some will modify their pliers as well. So if you go to the Ringlord or joshuadiliberto.com, they have modified chainmail pliers on there. You meant to say use the bones for broth? There you go. We do a lot of chicken broth. Like we get chicken thighs, bone in with the skin. And then we take the skin and bone and throw it in a little pot and boil it and then sieve out all the gunk and freeze it and use it and stuff. It's good for you. So, tap to high and got sent to another live. Oh, yeah. These have the smoke all throughout, so it has a lovely smoky flavor. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Right on. Yeah, I have not been to the Renaissance Festival in a few years now. Apparently my presence was requested at the local Renaissance Festival, but I was unable to make it out there. So, maybe next year. We'll see. My first Renaissance Festival was the Maryland Renaissance Festival up in Maryland. I was in school for the military, and I was living in an apartment in Silver Springs, Maryland. There were some people in the apartment who saw me hanging out making chainmail, and they were like, hey, you should come to the Renaissance Festival with us. And I had never seen one, being from Idaho. Like, we don't have major sports teams in Idaho. We have the Snake River Stampede, which is a rodeo. And then, if you're familiar with college football, and you're aware of the blue AstroTurf field, that's Boise State College, right? So there's the Snake River Stampede and some college ball and like mid-level hockey team. I think it's called like the Idaho Rampage or something. But yeah, no Renaissance festivals where I grew up. So when I went out to the Maryland Renaissance Festival, my mind was blown. I was like, holy cow, I didn't know people did this. It's so cool, and I had a lot of fun. Saw some acts, did some shopping. There was a shop with like 500 different flavors of honey, which I thought was really cool. I didn't know there was that much. I thought honey was honey, you know? Then I got stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. Immediately got deployed. When I got back, a friend of mine and I went out to the Texas Renaissance Festival, which is just north of Houston. So I went to the Texas Renaissance Festival for a number of years. I hit up the Sherwood Forest Fair once, and then now I'm the closest I've ever been to a Renaissance Festival. I live by the Bristol Renaissance Fair, and it's like an Uber drive away. Like a moderately priced Uber drive away. Honey sticks are so good. Mom found a picture of you from your first fair at Colorado. Nice. So, first couple years up here, it took my kid to go and ride all the rides and wander around all the shops and see what people had for sale and whatnot. And then the pandemic. Finally got to go back to Bristol this year. Oh, right on. How are you, Wayward and Whimsical? For anyone watching, if you're not already following Wayward and Whimsical, she makes really cool dragon eggs out of chainmail and scale mail, and then she makes really cute dragons. She just got finished with a Beetlejuice themed dragon that was really cool. I'm doing good. Streaming, working on stuff, cleaning up this mess in my basement. Getting through stuff a little bit at a time. It's like, I get down here and a lot of these projects take a really long time. So it's hard to see progress because a lot of the little stuff sits around for long periods of time. But some pretty big projects have gotten done. It is a work in progress. So I've got this cube. I got a cube commission. Oh, let me show you. Little brass and bronze cube I started. I got the rings from the Ring Lord. And aside from being a little dirty, I don't have any complaints. This one's going to be a 10 by 10, but that was my son screaming. He's fine. He's playing video games. If the microphone picked that up. So this is my commission. I ordered all the supplies, but they didn't have enough stainless, so hopefully they'll restock soon. What's the new plan to display the monster cube? I don't know. I'm gonna make a base, kind of like this is what I had it mounted on for the photos that I took of it outside. Which, if you go to my business page over on Facebook, it's my username, Mailworks. You'll see some photos of this cube outside. It looks so much better, right? So the plan is to build some kind of base for it. The issue is I don't want to use chainmail as the media for the base. As I was mentioning earlier, I wished that for the blackened stainless chains I used to hold all the big rings in place, I wished I had used solid rings. Because that would just break up the visual space a bit more. I like the way it turned out. It's just a lot to look at and take in. Right? So, here's like kind of how to explain my thought process on that. In chainmail, if you're not attuned to look at weaves and identify them the way a chainmail artist would be, right? There's a lot of visual confusion that crops up, right? So when I make a chainmail pendant, I will put it on a regular chain or a leather cord of some kind or something. I won't use a chainmail necklace with a chainmail pendant and vice versa, right? Like I'll take a regular pendant and put it on a chainmail necklace, because for me, when I see a chainmail pendant on a chainmail chain, like that's too much chainmail going on, right? It's hard to tell where one stops and the other begins. So kind of wish I had applied that knowledge to this cube and used solid rings for the black and stainless instead. I don't know where I would have found the right size solid black ring, but you know. Come here, pliers. Yeah. Does that make sense? There is such a thing as too much chainmail, in my opinion. Like, I like having a lot of it. I like wearing a lot of it. But like, here. This is one of my bracelet designs, right? And all the beads on here are not chainmail. They are independent of the chainmail. They stand out as notable features, as opposed to, say something like this. Where'd it go? Where's it at? These are chainmail beads on a chainmail necklace, right? And it gets... This one's not too bad. What? It says, live visibility restricted for 10 minutes. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results for the next 10 minutes because you may be promoting a brand, product, or service. The restriction will be removed once you turn on the content. I guess I'll turn them on. Disclose live content. I am promoting myself. Okay. Because I'm holding things up. Yeah, it's almost too visually overwhelming. I think it works great, especially given that it's an art piece. Are you talking about the cube? I think, like, it worked out on the cube, right? Like, the ball bearings kind of break up the visual space and, you know, I don't know. My thoughts are, don't use chainmail pendants on chainmail necklaces. I think it looks better when it's not that way. Can you do it? Yeah. Can you pull it off? Sure. Don't listen to me. I'm not any kind of authority. All right. You agree on too much is a bad thing also? Yeah. That's just, most people do not know what chainmail is at all. And so when they are confronted with something when they're confronted with something they don't understand, you want it to grab their attention as opposed to them just walking by in ignorance, right? Maybe. I don't know. I think that sounds right. Like I said, that's just my opinion. All right, where were we? We were... Oh, yeah, we were rudely interrupted by TikTok because I was holding stuff up. It's like, TikTok, I'm literally making it in front of you. I don't want to have another week where I can't go live. So that makes me edgy. You know what I mean? I mean, it just recently happened. And then my air conditioner went out. So, I don't need to lose my live privileges and then something else go wrong. It's the AI, you think? Yeah. I think so too, because the last time what my live was supposedly reported for did not make sense. To anything that I had said, and I was only on for like 5 minutes, but whatever. It's fine. So, I did want to go to the Renaissance Festival this year to get a spear for my Finnegan's Wake inlay, which I still don't have a spear for, or wall mounts. But I was unable to get out there, and I didn't really have the funds anyway. But I did find one. I did find a spear that would work. So I will eventually order it, but it's like off of Amazon, which is fine. It's like a cold steel spear. Functional, right? I don't ever want to purchase non-functional pointy things. There goes my son. He must have died. He must have not done well in whatever video game he's playing because he's very hyper emotional about it. Wow, I screwed that up. So yeah, found the pointy thing that I wanted to for this large wall hanging I did, and I don't know. Might just have to get it for Christmas or something. We'll see. But my Finnegan's Wake inlay is now in the way. So I need to hang it up on the wall soon. Let's see how far we can get. What else have we got to work on? Oh, you know what else I need to do? I need to add, I've got some more gold anodized aluminum rings that I'm going to add to the Finnegan's Wake inlay because I need about 400 regular bright aluminum rings. And it's for the loops that go across the top. So I got to do that before I hang it, but it is sitting on the table over there, and I went to go use the table, and it was in the way. So it's officially worn out its welcome and needs to go up on the wall. Thanks for liking the stream, Vakira. How are you doing tonight? All right, what else is going on? So I want to get this cube done. Oh, I've got... Let's see here. Okay. I've got the little cube, the little brass and steel cube commission, right? I need to finish this bin of black and stainless. I gotta finish. These are the remainder of the rings that were out of round. There's not a lot in there. Shouldn't take more than a day. Here is a tiny little cork. I think this is like 9 feet of full Persian chain, right? And I've got a lot of rings in this ring size to continue that chain. So I've got to figure out something to do with this. I have some ideas, but the problem is, similar to what we were talking about before with too much chainmail can be a bad thing. The sculpture I wanted to do with it needs at least 2 colors. So I would have to order more rings for that, and I don't necessarily want to do that. So I want to finish, I want to finish that bin this year, and then the only other like large project I have planned are the motorcycle projects. And those, like, if I don't start those until Christmas, that's fine. I started the saddlebags for my bike last year and finished them in time for riding season. So if I can do the toolkit and the gas tank bib out of chainmail and leather, I think I can probably start that at Christmas time and get that done by the time spring rolls around. Ha, spring rolls. I like egg rolls myself. Saddlebags turned out amazing. Thank you. I like how they turned out. I'm very happy with them. I mentioned this the other night, but the individual who inspired me to do that had lost access to their account before I started on my saddlebag project. She had made chainmail covers for her saddlebags years ago, lost her account last year, and when I got done with my saddlebags, I went to go and contact her. Like, yo, I have chainmail covered saddlebags too. And I could not find her account at all. And then like 2 weeks ago or something, she popped back up in my Facebook feed. She's like, oh, I just regained access to this account. I was like, well, that explains why you were gone. But yeah, I like the way the saddlebags turned out. They're completely functional. They look good on the bike. So the blackened stainless steel for my saddlebag project, it's here. Where's the I have a sample of it here. Right? I have a bunch of rings, these 16 gauge 1/4 inch rings. Right? And I just used European foreign one. I was making a shirt. And so I have this giant sheet of chainmail that it was a tube of chainmail that I was going to make a shirt out of. And the Ring Lord changed up how they sized their stuff and didn't have any 16 gauge 1/4 inch blackened stainless rings in stock. So finally I was like, all right, well, I need to make something else out of this as I'm cleaning up all these old projects in my basement, and it turned out good for the saddlebags. So the toolkit and the gas tank bib should turn out pretty well too. Oh, oops. Something to pay attention to. And then I don't know what else we'll get to this year. I will probably be going back to work here sometime soon, so that's going to slow things down a lot. But hopefully that won't affect my streaming. It's like getting the new air conditioner. So yeah, okay, we can put it on a credit card and, you know, make payments on it for forever, but also we could not do that. So we'll see. See what happens. Swear, you open and close a ring 1,000 times and you think you're good at it, and then you weave one ring and next thing you know, you're slipping all over the place. All right. Starting to, well, tomorrow, let's see here. Tomorrow we've got, my son's having some friends over. Sunday is the last day of the weekend, so Monday, doing some job searching. I really need something where I can take my kid to school, go to work, and be done by 3 o'clock to pick him up. That would be ideal. So then we can get home, do our homework, do dinner, and then, you know, so I don't want employment that impedes my ability to take him back and forth to school, because there's no buses that go to his school. He's got to be driven or change schools. So I don't want him to have to change schools, obviously. The school year just started. And I don't want to put him in like before and after care. Should check, see if your school district is hiring. That actually might be a thing. I will check that. I don't know if they are, but the hours would be about right. So yeah, do that Monday, and then I've got some computer stuff to take care of, like link updates. I got to update the icons on the app, make that look all nice and clean, and then, you know, work on projects and work on items for my store, and a lot of stuff to do. Always busy. Got to make family time in there too. It's like I did a rotation, not even a rotation. Couple of days, 2 or 3 days, a clinical rotation maybe, I guess is what you'd call it, at a school when I was in nursing school for my RN. It seemed pretty straightforward, you know. The kids that needed meds come get their meds. The kids that complain they have a stomach ache get like 3 complaints, and then you call their parents and send them home. So I'll check that out. I did, there is a instructor position open at 2 of the local colleges. I don't know what the hours are. But one of them, like, I qualify for no problem. The other one, I qualify for, but I would have to go and enroll in a nursing master's program. It's like you either have to have your MSN, your master's in nursing, or be enrolled in a master's program, which I don't have any desire to go get my master's. But also, there was a lawsuit recently against the VA for vets to be able to use their Montgomery GI Bill if they signed up for it initially, and I did when I first joined the military. In addition to being able to use their post 9/11 GI Bill. Now, I've already used my post 9/11 GI Bill, and I haven't seen any law regarding the ability of vets to use their Montgomery GI Bill. So if that comes about and I can go back to school without having to pay for it, I might consider it. I don't know. Probably not. We'll see. But, yeah. The one educator position, it's like you just have to have your bachelor's. And I've got it, so I can go and teach LPNs. Licensed practical nursing students. So that kind of seems like the hours might be right. Might find a home health job. I've had one of those previously, a few of those previously. What I don't want to do is I don't want to do hospital work, and I don't want to work in a nursing home. I will if I have to. Like if I go and apply for a bunch of jobs and nothing's biting, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I will. I don't want to. It's a horribly underserved population, and it's one of those jobs that they expect you to break down your whole body for them over and over and over again, day after day. So it's not an environment I want to work in. I've done it. I put my time in. It's like I don't want to go back to that. So like I said, I will if I have to, but we'll see what happens. It's like I'm done with my big cube now. That was my big constraint. I wanted to get that done before I went back to work. It's like, because none of what I'm doing has to be done. right? This is something that I enjoy doing, but I don't make a lot of money off of this. I make the occasional sale, but cleaning up the junk in my basement that's been sitting around for forever, like, I'm not working towards setting up a booth every weekend somewhere, you know. I could start taking commissions, I guess. See if I could do things that way, but again, there's already a ton of chainmail artists out there who do that, and it's like, I don't know, maybe vending a booth somewhere would be ideal instead of going back to work as a nurse. We'll see. Actually, what I should do, here's what I should do. I should go back to work as a nurse, pay off the AC, right? Build up a pile of cash, take some of that, invest it in the tools that I've wanted, right? Like, I've got a welder. I want to be able to anodize titanium at my house. It's not a cheap setup, but it's not super expensive. I want to be able to coil and cut rings at my house, saw cut them. So I want that set up. And that's a little bit more expensive. And then I want my setup for riveting rings, right? And so if I go back to work as a nurse and I buy myself all those toys and then come back and do like vending on the weekends and at shows and stuff, how much would all of that together cost? It's not that much. So anodizers are like the whole setup. You can get a cheap setup for $150. A more expensive setup would be like $500. Riveting is, you can go real cheap with riveting, you know, under $200. The coil and cutting setup is probably anywhere between $500 and $1,000, depending on how complicated you want to get with it. So like, you can do all that probably for less than $5,000, right? Like, it's not that much. And like I said, I've got a welder, so if I go back to work and I get a pile of cash and then buy, it was all under $2,000, yeah. So it's not that expensive. It's just I don't have, you know, $2,000 laying around. I will eventually. I'll get it all. It's just, you know, priorities. Like I said, my AC just went out, so I'm not going to be buying anything anytime soon. Well, right now, nothing. You clear where to use it? Yeah. Right now, I am a disabled vet stay-at-home dad that makes chainmail and streams. So, but before I became a stay-at-home dad, I worked as a nurse. So, if I go back to work as a nurse and pay off some stuff, like my AC, a credit card or two, and grab a couple tools for my chainmail setup here in my basement, and you're staying home dad and starting your own business, dumpster rental. There you go. See, that's smart. I went into chainmail themed apparel for my business. It's not exactly lucrative, let me put it that way. It's fun. I'm in Wisconsin. Started with a car trailer on Facebook. Yeah, see. If you went from a car trailer to a whole dumpster rental business, you're much better at business than I am. I'm not going to lie. Oh, man. What time is it? Oh, 9:05. We already got an hour into this. Got some good work done so far. Started with 1, moved to 2, and then you got a dumpster roll-off trailer. I was thinking about it the other day. Well, the other day. One of the things I was thinking about doing was getting one of those fancy motorcycle trailers and doing motorcycle towing for people. And the issue is that that's only good for like 6 months out of the year here. Which, you know, it's not nothing. It only worked from April to October. Driving is so easy. You're in Gaylord, Michigan. Oh, right on. Yeah, okay. So you know. You're right across the pond from me. I was watching the news about someone trying to swim across Lake Michigan recently. And they had attempted it twice and gone like halfway. And got lost or something and had to stop. So I don't think they've made it across yet. What drives a person to want to swim across a large body of water? Is it just the challenge? A few people have done it. Bears do it. Oh, geez. I saw a comparison image of a black bear versus a polar bear. And it was, the polar bear was laid out on a log. It was just the hide, right? And from the back of the polar bear's head to maybe behind his shoulders was the black bear hide. And the polar bear's, stretched out 14 feet. Is nuts. It's a wild comparison. I don't know, you do power building with new goals so you guys can see why someone might want to swim it. Yeah, I have an aversion to water at this point. Was it 2 years ago now? I was almost not here because of getting pulled out of a boat underwater. And then like a month before that, we had a 8-year-old get her hair stuck in a vent in a hot tub. And I don't want to go into too much detail. She ended up being fine. But I was the person they handed her to when they pulled her out, and she was not awake. So after that, and after my experience getting involuntarily removed from the floating device that I was using to navigate the river. I'm just like, yeah, there's no more swimming for me. And Lake Michigan is, every time I've ever been there, it's just been super agitated. So, I don't know. Like, I look at that and go, yeah, there's no way I would ever attempt to cross that. Couldn't do it. Wouldn't try it. I got over the whole I need to challenge stuff when I went head over handlebars doing about 35 miles an hour downhill when I was, how old was I? Oh, 15. It's like I was big into mountain biking. Oh, speaking of mountain biking. Okay. I was big into mountain biking at the time. And I was young, cross-country, fit, healthy, track star. Not really. I was really slow. You know, I did sports and stuff that required a lot of conditioning. And mountain biking requires a lot of conditioning. And where I grew up in Boise, there are the foothills right there. And you can go and do 1,500 to 2,000 feet in elevation on your mountain bike 10 minutes away from your house. So you'd ride up in the foothills, climb your elevation, and it would take, you know, a couple hours to get back up there. And it was always, you know, me and my dad going. And then you turn the bikes and point them downhill, and you start riding downhill as fast as you can. And most of the time, there's an uphill side of the hill that's, you know, safe, and there's a downhill side that is, I don't know, like 500 feet down into a ravine that if you go the wrong way, you're not going to come out of that. And they can't life flight you out of there, right? So I was going downhill like 30, 35 miles an hour, hitting jumps and just having the time of my life being a 15-year-old kid. And I went off trail on the uphill side and my front tire jackknifed. And I went, you know, flying over the handlebars. I separated my AC joint in my shoulder. I, you know, had the wind knocked out of me. I was all physically all right. Fortunately, I had gone on the upside of the hill. But I had the shoes that click into your pedals. And they are, where they click in is right on the arch of your foot on the shoe. So I went to go get back on my bike, and the sidewall of my tire had blown out from where it had hit the tree stump that I hit. So I'm trying to ride downhill, and next thing I know, my sidewall of my the tube of my tire blew. Right, and I'm about 2 miles away from the nearest area where I can get out of the foothills, and I had to. My dad was with me. He was behind me. He caught up, sees me off the trail, checks on me. Right? We get going again. Tire pops. And my dad's like, all right, well, let me ride down and get the van that we had rode over in and get to this spot about 2 miles away. So I had to walk with these shoes on with this metal clip in the arches of my feet 2 miles down to where I could. Oh, and I had to carry my bike out too. Right, and that was kind of a humbling experience where all the machismo wanting to conquer the world kind of got drained out of me. Have you ever had blankets made for you before? Like, I'm assuming we're talking about like a chainmail weighted blanket. I've only ever seen one. I've never been tempted to make one. I've had people ask about them, and it's like, it's a tremendous amount of work, and it's one of those things that it would just take up so much of my time. I don't have time for it. So, the only chainmail blankets I have are the ones I designed. So here I've got one of the Cube blankets from my store. I've got the Irish flag, and then I got a sugar skull one. No, a blanket. Yeah, I have 3 of those. You want to see them? Did someone reach out to you recently about making a chainmail blanket in a queen size? Oof. Ooh. You think you have one? Oh, right on. Hang on. Oh, ow. Move, Blanky. Chair. All right. Impromptu commercial time. Where's the top of this? Okay, so this is the sugar skull one that I have. There's the eyes. Here, actually, let me turn that off. I don't have a lot of room. And then should be able to see the mouth. You have the Christmas tree one. Oh, right on. And here is the cube, right? So just like the Jely Cube that I'm working on right now, I can't back up to show this real well. Well, there's one side, and it's got a hood. And there's the other side. And it's got this fun, super fluffy lining that goes with it. The new ones have pockets in the corner. Like the old ones have this strap. The new ones have pockets here. And then I've got my Irish flag with a harp on it. Where's the top to this? So there's the harp. And then, you know, green, white, and orange. Yes, I would have been the one to do that. To hold the giveaway and everything. Told them the amount of rings and time involved, the cost would be astronomical. Yeah, it's pretty much what I've told everyone. It's like when people ask me for a shirt, it's like, it's going to be very expensive. It's difficult for me to take that time and dedicate it to one project. Especially because, like, I don't do basic stuff. Like, you're going to get something like this ridiculously large cube over here if you want a shirt from me. It's going to cost a lot. But it's going to be worth it. You know? It's pretty easy to make a basic chainmail shirt. In fact, there's places that will sell you welded chainmail shirts and other pieces. What's that place called? I don't know if they have like a Mailtech machine. So here's my understanding of how this happened. There is... It's called, okay, the ringmesharmory.com. Or no, ringmesh.com. RINGMESH.com. Okay? So, you're very welcome. I'm wearing my scale mail themed hoodie. I took all my hoodies off the website because the cuffs are like really tight, and until the manufacturer fixes that, I'm not keeping them up there. I've got a few on there that have been okay. They're a little bit different than like the style I'm wearing. But I think the only product I have this design on right now is a cloak. And I have to sit down and redo that because now the cloaks that I have are the old style, and I want to upgrade to the new style that include like a zipper. And I want to get what do you call it? I want to get one of my chainmail snug hoodies as well. Does the chainmail community have any opinion about the Cybertruck? I don't know. Let's see here. User 4219. I am making a Jely Cube right here. It's kind of a small one, right? It's odd shaped because I haven't finished it yet. Same with this, right? It's an odd shape because I haven't finished it yet, but it's a big, funky piece of chainmail that it's just a large fidget toy, essentially. Fun to make and fun to play with. Alright, you really should be plugging your website in the background somewhere. You do great work. Okay, so as soon as I reapplied for my TikTok streaming, right, so that I can use my streaming software to stream, and I don't have to use my phone, and I can get all the comment section in one place, because right now I have 2 different comment sections that I follow. And I have like my business name on there and my logo and whatnot, and I can stream using TikTok Live from my computer, but I can't use TikTok Live and my streaming software Streamlabs at the same time, because whichever program I open up first takes over the cameras. So I've got to figure that out. Maybe in the next 2 weeks I'll like dig really deep and hop up and down and wave my arms around at TikTok and see if they'll give me a stream key. But you know, other than that, like, I can't do it from my phone. This is just, you're thinking a sign in the background, probably not a bad idea. Have I ever had any repetitive injuries? Yes, absolutely. I have arm braces that I wear fairly frequently whenever my wrists get irritated. This was all spring steel, all the regular stainless looking stuff, right? The black and stainless was just regular, I think it's 304 stainless. That was a pain. So that took some like work with it for 2 weeks before I could comfortably use it. What I'm working with is like quarter hard aluminum here. It's not so bad. And once I got done working with this stuff, you know, there's nothing I couldn't tear apart with a pair of pliers at this point. So it's like I was hoping to get one of those grip strength testers. So I don't have the funds for it, but they're like $25 or something. And just seeing like after all the work I did with these, like what my grip strength is. You can see the difference in the pliers used. Yeah, so for the quarter hard aluminum, or half hard, whatever it is, I use these little Zurons. They're great, wonderful little pliers. For the spring steel, I was using these. Now, this is a pair of Webbers. You can use them with anything, but these have some teeth to them. And I still managed to, like, gouge the crap out of my knuckle. I got it real good one night. Man, it was like right at the end of stream. I was trying to close. The rings on the outside of these, the big rings here, this outside edge were the hardest to close, right? It's just like, you can't get a grip on them because there's no room. And those were the worst. I would slip with the pliers in my left hand and just hit this knuckle over and over again. And one night I gouged a good, like, 1/4 inch wide spot in my knuckle. It was like the last ring I had to close. It was 10 o'clock. I was like, I was just so defeated by the end of that stream. But yeah. But no, I should put a sign in the background. Buy chainmail themed apparel and accessories here at mailworks.com. So it's like I've got some LED lights, some color changing lights to add. I gotta figure out how to do those. I was looking for replacement lights for these overhead. And I grabbed some color changing ones and they just weren't bright enough, but I want to throw those up in the background. I want to be able to use my camera and my overhead camera to stream to all these platforms. And you know, my stream has improved a ton since I first started. I used to use the webcam in my computer and fold my screen down so the camera would pick up what I was working on, and I had like soft lights in here to work with. And now I've got bright white daylight lights and foam panels and 2 cameras and a ring light, and so you know it's improving. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Or it's a big 3D printed QR code or something. Yeah, it's like right here. No, it's definitely a good idea. I should do it. So Monday, it's like I'm not going to spend a lot of time chain mailing probably for the next 2 weeks, except on stream. And yeah. I've got, you know, like I said, I got a bunch of stuff I got to catch up on. And then use the headlamp to be able to see the rings. That's another thing too, right? When I was working on this big cube, sometimes like the rings would be on this side. All my light is over here. I've got some coming straight down, but there's tons of shadow on this thing. And so I was like guessing. Half the time I couldn't see the rings when I was building it when it got real big. And it's like, oh, I hope that it sounded like it closed. I hope that closed. And then I'd have to go and check it real quick. That was fun. So I need another light, like on either side over my shoulders, pointing down to where I'm working. One day. It's like I want to have multiple cameras in my basement here. So I've got this workspace where I'm working. I've got the table next to me where I do a lot of leather work and stuff. The next table is covered in supplies and crap. And then The third table has a bunch of finished projects on it and some supplies and some crap, right? But I want to be able to go over and click a button, go over to the bar, hang out over there, hang out on my couch. I'm just going to hook up. I've got a spot for a TV on the wall, and I'll run a cable from my computer to the TV, and you know, that way I can see comments from across the room, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. What size is your panel behind you? What size is the panel behind me? These are, I don't know. I'm going to guess 12 by, how big am I should do that from over here. 8.5. Yeah, I'm going to guess 12. 12 by 12. I think that's what they were actually when I ordered them. So I've got a tape measure somewhere, or a fabric measuring tape. Hang on. Yeah, 12 by 12. Rough guess, your plant is only 255 by 255 millimeter. I don't speak 3D printer. I don't know what that means. But here's your pro tip. These fabric measuring tapes that everyone has, they stretch out and they need to be replaced every now and again. Especially, you know, the more often you use them. Just so you know. What's going on, Mech? How you doing? It's Friday night, and it is Friday night, right? Yeah. I'm doing okay. It's Friday night, and I'm chilling, making some chainmail. I can't complain. Trying to knock out at least one large cube this year. It's like I have all of these, right? All these rings that are cube sized, right? But I already had this big chunk started. I was gonna take all of this and make a bunch of smaller cubes because every time I make a cube video, people are like, "Oh, I want to buy one," and I'm not in a position to take commission work, and I'm not able to like order supplies and fulfill orders right now. Someday, maybe, right? So I point people in the direction of some other chainmail artists, ones that were in here, like Wayward and Whimsical that was in here, and Astrid Wolf that was in here earlier tonight. And it's just like, trying to get everybody who commented to get a cube, but also, you know, pointing business to other chainmail artists and supporting them, right? So, and there were, like, I don't know. I asked both of them about it later, and after a couple hundred comments of me tagging them, like, they had gotten 1 or 2 sales out of it, and it just kind of seemed like cubes are not cheap to make. They're very time-consuming and expensive, and so when people find out the price, they lose interest, right? Unless you make a really big cube. I had several offers on my last large cube. The last offer I got was the largest, and that is why that old large cube is gone. So I was like, I can take all this and I can make a bunch of small cubes out of it and try and sell them. Right? Or I can not take apart the giant lump that I had already made. I can finish this out and then I'll make a few small ones if I have any rings left over. The smaller sizes definitely sell better. I believe it. And this is a good ring size for a smaller size, right? This is like 16 gauge standard wire gauge, 11/64, I think it was. I don't remember off the top of my head. Like a 3x3 cube is a decent little cube, you know? It's a little 3/4 of an inch fidget thing. Got an Ender 3S1 and a K1C, right on. Whereas, say, a 3x3, let me just hold these up in comparison, right? For anyone on the overhead, these rings in the smaller cube are much smaller than, right? So, it takes the same amount of time to make a 3x3 cube in each size, right? But this is at least a ring size where, you know, I feel like if I sold a small cube to somebody for X, that, you know, it would be a fair exchange. Whereas if I sold a 3x3 cube out of this ring size, it's so tiny, it's like a keychain, you know. So you can't win a baby cube. I don't have any made. If I raffle this off and I have some leftover rings, then, you know, whatever's left over in here will get made into a cube, because it's not all they're good for, but it's what they're for, right? Takes the same amount of time, yeah. You have a highly modified Ender 3V2. Mac, have we talked about 3D printers before? I think we have. As I said, man, if you do that, you can count you in. What weave am I using? So this is called Japanese 4-in-1. And it's just layers of Japanese 4-in-1 alternating on top of the next layer. And since she was just in here, Wayward and Whimsical has a tutorial over on her TikTok. And it's the only tutorial I'm aware of. And it's very thorough. She did a really good job of going over everything you need to know and how to make a cube. Wayward and Whimsical, she was just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 comments up. I need to finish rows before I make another row. Kind of got to have the rings to connect to. There's a couple of written ones, but you have the only video. Yeah. It's a decent tutorial. Helped you with the 3x3 you made. Right on. So whenever someone asks for a tutorial, I just point them that direction towards her video tutorial, just because, I don't know, I've only seen the schematics for how to orient your rings. I haven't seen a written tutorial. You want one but never tried to make one? Okay, I'm sure that Wayward and Whimsical goes over this in her video. Just be very careful of the ring size you pick. Like, I just got these from the Ring Lord, and they're 18 gauge standard wire gauge, 1/8 of an inch diameter. Same with these are from chain-reaction.ca. Same ring size. And I don't know if anyone makes the 16 standard wire gauge 11/64 ring. I haven't looked for it in any material. But the aspect ratio is like 2.6 to 2.7. And that will that aspect ratio is what's key. .16 gauge, 5/32 works really well. Nice. Is that 16? No, you said 16 standard wire gauge. Okay. Right on. Actually, you know what? I think I knew that. Because I have a cube out of 16 gauge 3/16 from TRL that is just slightly too big. So I doubled up all the edges and the flat surfaces. And it worked out, kind of. That was a pain to make. Find the size of TRL. He does some Persian that has gotten too tight because of the wrong gauge. Yeah, that happens. I've tried plenty of weaves with the wrong ring size. It's like there is, you know, it's one thing I want to do. I'm not particularly geared towards this, but one of the things I would like to do, I enjoyed, you know, experimenting a long time ago with different weaves, and especially like learning new weaves. So, and there's a lot of weaves that I need to learn, right? So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start ordering kits and having dedicated streams to finishing that kit, right? And then that helps teach me new weaves and stuff. Use 16 gauge 1/4 inch because that's what you had. And you had to double it up. Hey, if it worked, you know. It's like I've got a 20 gauge 1/8 titanium cube. Let's see here. I made this last year. It's still got to be re-anodized. All the rings in here are doubled up. That's one of the reasons why I need an anodizer. And this one has like some weird sunken, like this side is thinner than this side for some reason. I don't know what happened there. That was a weird little cube. Okay. But yeah. Used to enjoy experimenting, and like, this is the result of me taking what I know and applying it to the next level for me with the way my brain works, right? So I want to go through and, you know, study a bunch of kits that people have and tutorials that people have. And, you know, purchase them and not share the ring sizes, because that's rude. And then another thing I would like to do is to come up with a weave of my own. I'm just going to call it Sean's Weave. That was basically at the very top end of the acceptable aspect ratio. Oh yeah. Yep, I've got a bunch of like little sloppy cubes that are kind of cubish, you know, and then I have some that are like solid. And it was just me using up rings that were left over from other projects and stuff, and just kind of is what it is. It's like, I can probably go and make anything I wanted to at this point in after doing this for 28 years, you know? And people can get to where I'm at a lot quicker than I did by avoiding my mistakes. You can avoid my mistakes by watching my stream and learning all the mistakes I've made in the 28 years I've been doing this. Maybe at the bottom end it was a very tight fit. Yeah. I was picking up what you were putting down. I was smelling what you were stepping in. And okay, and disclaimer, even after 28 years, a lot of the stuff that I attempt doesn't work. It's just, you know, the first time I try and make it, right? Like, this was supposed to be a dragon scale pine cone sculpture, not a cube. It just ended up being a cube. Because the dragon scale pine cone sculpture did not work out. But I still want to make the dragon scale pine cone. What did you mean? You meant the bottom end. Right? So, like below 2.5 aspect ratio, the cube's going to be really tight. And then as you go above 2.7, the cube's going to get looser. And that ring size itself has an aspect ratio larger than 2.7, but if you double them up, it's small enough to make a rigid cube. I mean, that is how I would communicate it anyway, but I knew what you meant. In fact, actually, let me go grab two things, maybe three. Never walk away from the camera when you're streaming. It's bad habit. All right, here we go. So, this is probably something similar to what you did, right? All the rings are doubled up and it's super rigid. This is just a solid chunk of metal, right? There's no slack to this at all. This is my 16 gauge 3/16, okay? And it's kind of cubish. It's kind of fidgety. It's hefty as all get out, you know, and it's good, like, if your kid misbehaves, just, no, don't do that. It makes sense. You're guessing it means how many rings will fit inside the inner diameter? Yeah. So, if you have a, if you have a ring, the aspect ratio is how many rings can you stack up in that, inside of, how many rings of the same size can you weave through that ring, right? So it's inner diameter divided by the wire diameter. Does that make sense? And then here's my fun little cube where I wove 2 cubes through each other. I ran out of brass rings there. And I'm just showing this off. That's amazing. It's a cool little... I'd like to do it again out of nicer rings and not doubled up. Right? And I'd like to do 4 interconnected. And I thought about it doing it with this. But I need money. So I'm going to make 1 large cube out of this and try and sell it for a lot of money. And then this cube is also for sale for anyone watching. Give me lots of money and I'll ship this to you. After I make a display for it. After I figure that out. No, I got a feeling like I'll make a display for this and it's going to sit in my basement until I get the other like 10 or 15 large sculptural projects done and have them displayed as well. And then it's going to be a couple $100, maybe even up to $1,000 or more, to have them all professionally photographed. Then finding a place to put them on display as an exhibit. Then maybe they might sell. Maybe, perhaps. How deep is that? Think the color contrast is what makes it so neat? Yeah. I'd like to make it out of like some nicer rings and not doubled up, and you know. That's cool. Problem with brass and bronze is they get dirty real easily, especially with handling. So, and I got kids down here all the time. And you can tell a kid as much as you want not to mess with stuff, but kids are going to do what kids do. So, get their grubby little hands all over everything. It happens. So what? Oh, another problem. I got my list of sculptures that I want to make, of large chainmail sculptures I want to make. This being the first one of those. Okay. I keep rubbing my hand with the hand that I pick up the aluminum rings with, and I've got like gray aluminum residue on my fingers, and I really shouldn't rub my eye with that. So I need like 10 to 15 total sculptures. I only have like 5 or 6 ideas right now. So I haven't, well, maybe I'll like make duplicates or something. So one of the things I would like to make is a large cross. Right? I can do a couple of different versions of a cross. A couple different weaves. That'd be fun. Make a functional pair of glasses out of chainmail. I don't know how functional they were, but I've definitely seen some glasses sculpture. a pair of glasses sculpture. Oh, you know what else I got? So I have these engineering plastic rings and engineered plastic rings, right? And see right there, they click together, right? They come in bags of 100. So I'm going to play around with these, and I got the white ones. At the end of the description on the Ring Lord where I got these from, it says you can dye them, which I didn't know. So now I'm like, what kind of dye does it take to dye them, you know? And what I have planned for these, I'll have to glue every closure, and then the whole thing will have to be dipped into a vat of dye or whatever. But that's going to be my my lampshades. So I needed some testing rings, right? Like I bought, where'd it go? I bought these rings, just an ounce of each of them, the bronze and the stainless, because I wasn't sure if this ring size would work, and I wanted to make sure that the rings were quality enough to make a project with, and they were, and so I ordered some more today. But as I mentioned previously, the Ring Lord did not have all of the supplies I would need for the size of cube I'm making, so I'm hoping they restock soon. But RIT works good with plastic. Is that a brand of dye? I don't know anything about dye, so I'm going to take your word for it. And like, how much of a color change do you get? You know what I mean? I don't know. But it'd be cool to take, like, the white engineered plastic rings, weave them all together, dip them in a vat of dye, and have it come out like purple or something. And just have this textured lampshade deal. But I also have to find 2 lamps that I can wrap in chainmail. So we're going to take the lamp base, wrap it in chainmail, and then make the lampshades out of the engineered plastic rings. They have a ton of colors. Cool. It's like I've got white, black, and clear, and I used up all that I had on a Orca inlay that I did, which turned out pretty cool, you know. But I wasn't really going to use them for anything else. I wasn't inspired. Like they're cool, but they're not, you know, I didn't think much of them. So then I was thinking about stuff I'd like to make. It's like I would like to have chainmail lampshades. The problem is that most chainmail lampshades that I see they don't cover the bulb at all, right? But you can make some really dense weaves that, you know, light doesn't get through real easy. And so the problem is it takes a lot of rings to make those weaves. So if I use plastic, I have a better chance of being, you know, pretty successful at making a really nice lampshade. So we'll see what happens. All right. And that's, you know, that is a project for a later date. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It's like I need capital is what I need. You still like the scale ones? The scale mail lampshades? They're cool. Like one of the lamps I have it on is pretty nice. It's a metal stand, or a metal base rather. And I don't remember the person who made it. I bought the two that I have. I bought, right? And then one person made one more using like clear plastic scales, and it was really cool, but I didn't have the money for it at the time. But yeah, scale mail lampshades, awesome. And those aren't so heavy that you can't just weave them together. And, you know, you thought I made them? No, I didn't make those ones. I will probably make some scale mail lampshades in the future using some dope scales that people make out there. Right? Because it's one of those things where a lampshade is a static piece. So I don't have any problem using anodized aluminum scales to make a lampshade. It's not going to move around. It's like it's an inlay that hangs up on your wall. It's not going to move around. It's going to be there. Glow-in-the-dark scales would be perfect. Do they make glow-in-the-dark scales? I didn't know that they did that. I've seen glow-in-the-dark products before. The EPDM rings that the Ring Lord offered, they used to have glow-in-the-dark scales, or glow-in-the-dark rings. But last I saw, they got rid of those. But yeah, anything glow-in-the-dark. People love that stuff. Not quite my thing necessarily. But then again, lots of stuff ain't my thing. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay? No shade to anybody who has these in their home. But you know the mail order ceramic dragon family set where you have like the mama dragon and then 3 little baby dragons, and it's like purple and pink, and you know, it's like an incense burner or a candle holder or something, right? Growing up, you know, you'd see that next to like a Boris Vallejo painting, you know, in some mail order magazine, and like I was like, oh, this stuff is so cool, it's awesome, and blah blah blah, right? Until I saw it actually in someone's home, and then I was like, oh wow, that looks really out of place. And I, you know, maybe it was just the decorations in their home and that just didn't match or whatever, but it didn't look good. And so, like, that was cool when I was younger, and then, like, once I saw it, I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know about that one. Same with glow-in-the-dark scales. Like, I liked glow-in-the-dark stuff when I was younger. What kid doesn't? But now, as an adult, I don't know. If you like that stuff, hey, don't let me ruin your sunshine. To each their own. Just not, you know, not my thing. And that's actually a problem. Okay? As somebody who makes stuff, I tend to make what I like to make. And I think that if I like it, other people will like it too. Well, guess what? That's not the case. There is plenty of stuff out there that I'm, like, not a fan of, that if I made it, people would buy it. And I you know, haven't. Probably because the, like, I have to get over myself, my own ego. Typho Mar, how you doing? I got an order in of those rings you were using. Right? I got these in from Kissity that we talked about the other day. And you finish your sleeve? Right on. I haven't, I've been streaming tonight, so I don't know if you were live earlier, but I haven't caught a live of yours since. So, and, you know, I have thoughts. My first, the first thing I did was discuss what was going on for the rings, that you could bend them with your fingers and whatnot. And I talked to a machinist friend of mine. I was like, there's this stainless steel rings that he's bending with his fingers. And he said they're probably these soft annealed stainless steel that a lot of people are using. And I hadn't heard of it. But when I went shopping over at the Ring Lord earlier today for some supplies for a different project, they have some soft annealed stainless steel on there. And so it's not necessarily something I would use, but it sounds like it's a legitimate stainless steel product. So that's good. A lot of stuff is like, oh, it's stainless steel, but it's really like junk metal. You know what I mean? You were live for most of the evening? Yeah. So the problem with soft annealed stuff, it's like why I don't make a lot of stuff out of aluminum, he says, as he works with 18,220 aluminum rings. Especially for a sleeve that you're going to wear. Just watch out for rings coming apart and stuff. I mean, it's lightweight and good for what you need. As long as it works for you, that's great. Okay? I was, you know, a lot of times I run across people and they've ordered some really just garbage stuff from Temu, or they went to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and they grabbed the jump rings from there, and then they wonder why they all fall apart. You know what I mean? So that was my primary concern. Like, I've played around with them a little bit. They're strong enough, you know. All right. And now it's a thing I can discuss. Tell me what you're saying though. Yeah. A good low to mid-grade ring. Yeah, kind of. I'd put it there. It's better than what you would get at the craft store, and typically what I see people get off of Temu and Amazon. So, but, so you finished your sleeve. And that's the first time you've ever made chainmail? No, boogers. Whoops, you didn't mean to put what where. You can't ruin my sunshine because your sunshine glows in the dark? All right. Okay, so first time, and it's for a, like a convention or something. What was the overall garb that you're going to be wearing? Are you not a fan of Chainmail Joe? I am a fan of Chainmail Joe. I love their beginner kit. And copied the link and accidentally pasted it here. Oh, okay. Chainmail Joe's beginner kit is a fantastic product. A Whiterun guard from Skyrim. I have heard of this legendary character. I've never played Skyrim, so I don't know necessarily what that looks like. I would have to Google it. But yes, in the Mailworks app, I've got Chainmail Joe's listed in there. We've got mail, Metal Designs, the Ring Lord, couple other Tom's Ring Shop, JoshDiliberto.com. Right? I don't have, too many complaints. Well, I don't have any complaints about. The only one I have complaints about is the Ring Lord. So, it's more for laughs than anything. Yeah, right on. No, it's cool. Adding chainmail to any piece of garb that you're going to wear and succeeding is an accomplishment. So, even if you only ever dip your hands or dip your toes into the craft once, fun little experience. Pretty cool. That, TT, that. It's definitely a good, fun thing to learn. Right on. Yeah. And, if you don't get too caught up in it, because then you'll do things like make 30-pound chainmail cubes for fun. So, just fair warning. Amanda, I don't know what you're trying to say there. Are you okay? Press 1 for help. Yeah, that was I started out with a little European 4-in-1 piece when I was 14 years old. And, oh, you're all right. It's a little over the top for you. Getting the second layer would be a challenge. Yeah. And then I made a couple different weaves, and I learned a little more, and I made bigger projects, and it's just gotten more and more ridiculous as time goes on. So, now I'm working on projects I shouldn't be working on while I still have my basement to clean up. But loads of fun. We're getting somewhere. This chunk that I had already made like months ago, it's already so big that I feel like I haven't done any work on it, really. Even though I put in like 6 hours on this today, maybe more. I've pretty much been doing this all day. And I plan on doing it for the next several days. So, what is the date? The 20th? Okay, hang on, let's do some math here. Calculator. What's the total? 18,299? Okay. So 18,299 divided by 200 is 91 hours, okay? And we already have a, okay, let's not even start at 18,299. Hang on. 8 7 3. This is almost a quarter of that. So let's start out at 18,299 minus 4,500. 99 minus 4,500 equals divided by divided by 200. 200. Okay, so that's 69 hours left to work on this. What is that divided by 10? There's 10 days. No, there's 11 days left in this month. 6.27 hours a day. All right. So if I work on this for 6.27 hours, I can have this done by the end of the month. A day, if I do nothing else. And most days I can do that, probably. I've definitely done that today. Let's see. I guess it's going to be a late night. You lose time so easily when you're mailing. Yep. Oh, and like, it's such a projects like this where you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. It becomes a grind, and it actually just wears physically on your body just sitting here. You don't even work that much for your full-time job? Right on. I need a job like that where I only work less than 6.5 hours a day for a full-time job. I need a job ideally that starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 3. That way, my kid doesn't have to go in to aftercare or before school care, and I can drop him off and pick him up and still have time to help him with his homework, cook dinner, and then get up here for a few hours, and then, whatever else needs to get done. You're home at 11 today? Right on. So, I don't know. Those are not the hardest jobs to find as a nurse, but I wasn't certain that I was going to be going back to work until recently. The air conditioner kind of put me over the top. I was like, all right, I don't want to be paying on this for forever. It's like, let's get that bill knocked out and a few others, and then nurses work all the hours. Yeah, they do. And I was thinking there's a lot of places that pay really well for overnights. It's like, if I worked overnight, I could come home, take my kid to school, sleep during the day, pick him up. It wouldn't be a lot of hours of sleep, right? Like, I would have to take him to school, drop him off, and head back home and go straight to bed. So there wouldn't be any downtime after work. I get up 3 in the afternoon, go pick him up. I thought about that, but I've worked overnights before, and it's awful. And I'm old and grouchy, and I don't want to work overnights. Like, if it came down to where I needed a employment so badly that, I had to work overnights, and I had to work overnights, or my kid could go to before school care or after school care. It's like, I love my kid, but he's going to before and after school care before I work overnights again. Graveyard sucks, yeah. I've done it. It's not fun. When I was doing it, that was I had a job down in San Antonio. Like, my son was born shortly after I graduated, and so I'd been working in a hospital as an LPN for years at San Antonio Military Medical Center down there, which is a level 1 trauma center, and I did all kinds of stuff down there. And so I picked up an overnight shift, taking care of doing home health, taking care of an autistic kid on a ventilator and a feeding tube. He's like, he's blind in one eye, couldn't hear. He's like 14 years old. He's very active, and he existed in a crib, right? And so, you do your thing, and you get him hooked up to his ventilator, get him hooked up to his tube feed, and give him his medicine, and give him whatever water he needed and whatnot. And you'd turn the lights out and get all the stimulation out of the room. Go play video games with your brothers. Have a good one, right? And then you'd get him down. Let's see if I can kind of simulate this. For the first couple hours of the night, and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, right? He'd be sleeping, and like this is the side of his crib, and all you'd see as you're sitting there, it's kind of in the dimly lit room, is this eyeball poke up over the side of the crib of him looking around. And then he'd wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'd get rowdy for an hour. He had a real problem with stimulating himself by smacking his head up against the wall. So anytime he was up, he had to have a helmet on. Oh. Just, you'd just be sitting there like playing on your phone or whatever as he sleeps and monitoring his ventilator and making sure that everything stays connected and whatnot. And then you'd see this eyeball, just one eyeball, rise up over the side of the bedside. And he'd look around, and then he'd get up and he'd start hooting and hollering too, which was always funny. And he's just stimming. Alright, what time is it? Oh, it's 10:20. I didn't even notice the time. Usually I'm out of here long before this. But my kid doesn't have to go to bed till 11. I unfortunately have some stuff to do, so where are we at here? Got a couple people in here. Yet, when I started, there was like 200 plus people that your live gets sent out to. And I had good numbers for a while, and we've been streaming for quite a bit at this point, right? So how long can somebody sit and watch me open and close rings? I applaud all of you. Thank you for doing that. Watching me build this one ring at a time. So that number dwindles. But tonight, I have been informed that I don't stream long enough, right? Because normally I only stream like 90 minutes a night. And I get a little notification that says, good job, you streamed for 90 minutes. And a little birdie told me that that wasn't long enough if you want to get attention. So I find it interesting that I've gone 2 hours now. And, we're just kind of chilling. Nothing exciting is happening. So I don't know if you have to go, over 90 minutes multiple nights in a row or multiple days in a row. Basically, I don't want to be stuck. I would love to do full-time content as a streamer, okay? Doing full-time content as a streamer making chainmail, I've been talking this whole time. I don't know how entertaining it's been. I've kept some people around. But let's be honest, what I'm doing is cool, but I'm not the most entertaining person by any stretch of the imagination. So, trying to become a full-time streamer, not that I don't believe in myself, or I tried to say not that I don't faith in myself, not that I don't believe in myself, and not that I don't have faith in myself. I just think it's a really big leap to go from just chilling, making chainmail a couple hours a week to doing it all day long every day, right? And being successful at it and doing that in lieu of a job. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe. It's if I go, get a job, get back to work, pay off my AC unit, and a couple other things. Corgi tore up my carpet, so I need carpet in 2 rooms. One got tore up and one got destroyed because both my dogs, not my dogs, neither of them are my dogs. They just live in my house. Useless eaters, fur turds. Both of them decided that one side of the house where the dining room and the front room is was going to be their new bathroom. And it's every time I turned around, They're just leaving a mess everywhere, right? At some point, I thought my older dog was sick. Took him to the vet. No, he wasn't sick. He just had an attitude problem. So, we got that mostly straightened out. The Corgi puppy, he's 1 year old now. Still has some problems, but he's mostly okay. But my carpet is still destroyed. So I need new carpet. And the reality is that the carpet's 20 years old. I needed new carpet anyway, but now it it could have lasted for a few more years. Now I've got to, it needs to be fixed, right? Might as well wait 6 months to a year till the Corgi is fully potty trained. And you'd think Corgis are supposed to be smart dogs and they train easily and blah, blah, blah. And I don't care what you believe. They are, they might as well belong to, you know what? Things I can't say on stream. That's how bad they are. So, HVAC, carpets, a couple other updates on the house. I need 100 square feet of dirt for my garden bed in the backyard. And I could go to the city, I don't know what to call it. People take their yard trimmings and yard clippings there, like grass and branches and stuff, and they turn it into mulch. Or, what is that process called? Put all your grass in a pile and you spray with water and flip it over the next day and you spray with some more water and then you flip it over. And it turns into dirt and it's like fresh new dirt. What is that called? It's not called mulching your grass, is it? Anyway, it's a whole process to make your own dirt from your yard clippings, right? But they do it down at the city has a space where they do it. So there's a bunch of free dirt down there. And I could go and I could grab whatever amount of dirt will fit in the back of my truck, and then I can load it into the garden bed for my wife, right? But I have been lazy, and I built the garden bed, and I haven't filled it up yet. And I have until like spring of next year to get it full. So I can go to work. I'll just pay someone to deliver the dirt to the garden bed directly. Because I don't want to pick up a shovel and go move some dirt. Not 100 square feet of it anyway. That sounds exhausting. So do that. Grab some tools that I want and get an anodizer and get my rivet setup going and all that fun stuff for chainmail and more cameras down here. Get like a whole fleet of cameras. Right? Yeah. So that if I have to, if I have to get up and move to another part of the basement, I can just like flick a button and it'll, still be on screen for the audience. I think that's, probably a much more viable way to go than me trying to stream for multiple hours at a time. But tonight's been fun. It's been like 2.5 hours now. So I'm gonna stay until I finish up this edge. Or these edges. This flats area that I'm working on right here. Come here, you. There we go. Alright. For anyone hanging out, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. Things similar to this hoodie, but with a bunch of blankets and coffee cups and stuff like that. And hopefully next week I'll get back on my computer and knock out a bunch of computer work that I have to do, to include updating some of the designs in the store. Right? That'll be fun. And if you're watching this and thinking, hey, I would like to learn how to do that, let's see. There it is. I just posted a link. That is my link tree. Control V. And in the link tree, there's a web app that opens up, and there's all kinds of resources in there. All the resources I wished I would have had when I first got started making chainmail 28 years ago, right? And that includes suppliers and tutorials and where to find them and where to find where other chainmail artists hang out at, and a bunch of other fun chainmail resources, right? As well as a link to the Mailworks Discord. We've got like 45, 50 people in there, and getting more and more people every day. There's several experienced chainmail artists in there, myself included. If you have any questions or you just want to hang out or whatnot. And then there's all my socials. I would be grateful for forever if you would follow along on other platforms. I go live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And one of these days I'll do that all on one computer instead of having the phone and the computer. But yeah, if you open that link tree and find my links and all that fun stuff. There's also a coffee in there, coffee fund. And you can donate $1 to help me fund these projects. It's another way to help out, which is greatly appreciated. So other than that, I stream. I'm usually on 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week. Tonight, it's like I got started a little early because I was down here, and we're going a little late because I'm almost done with this surface that I'm working on, this current layer that I'm working on. Like, let me just finish it up. But as I mentioned previously, we got a bunch of kids coming over to the house tomorrow, so I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night. I will probably be down here working. So I got to get up, clean the house, have some kids over, let them destroy it, clean up after them, and then I'll probably be back down here tomorrow evening. We'll see. Yeah, 8:30 to 10 Central Standard Time. I am trying to make more hours for this, but like I just said, like, I'm also probably, going back to work, so I'm going to continue to try and keep streaming, and hopefully it won't be an issue. We get to find out together. All right. And then I think I need a woodworker. It's like I have to build a base for this. If you don't follow me on any other platform, you wouldn't have seen the photos of like the galvanized pipe display I had planned for it, and that didn't work. So I need a base, and I don't want to use chainmail as the media. And it's not like I don't work well with wood. I have in the past. I have a wood project planned. Several, actually, that I have to do. Only one of them is complicated. And that's a secret project that will be revealed at a later time. That probably won't happen until next year. But as far as like fancy carving structural pieces that I'm looking for, I would much rather just pay someone to do it. Actually, you know what? I've got the perfect person in mind. He's a little busy at the moment. Do you guys follow the Wood Veteran on TikTok? He's currently making a bunch of, what do you call them? Awards. He is a veteran. He got selected to design a bunch of awards, corporate awards. I don't remember what that has to do with him being a veteran. But anyway, he's making these really cool awards, and it's been going on for a while, and they're finally starting to come together. So I should talk to him, because I don't need a base anytime soon, right? For this cube. I don't need it like tomorrow or anything. We're not taking this cube to the art gallery anytime soon. I'm glad we talked about this, because now I know what I want to do. And I need you to write it down. Right? Wood base from the Wood Veteran. My other wood project, actually, I should talk to him about too. Alright. So, anyway, everyone, that is what I'm going to be up to. Let's get some capital. The big thing is coiling and cutting rings myself from steel and titanium for the projects that I want to make here at the house. That's my big goal. If I can cut down the cost to make big projects like this, because to order all of these rings, now I can't do black and stainless at the house. I would have to order that. But in the future, I would probably use something like the black glass titanium from, what is the website? Whitney Mail. They take titanium and they turn it really dark, and it's very pretty, right? Black and stainless steel comes very dirty. So, and you can't clean it too much because you lose some of the blackening. It's gotta sit and soak into the metal for a good long period of time. So, I wish there were better processes for making black material out of steel and titanium, but as far as I or anyone else knows in the chainmail community, there's really not. But I probably will order any black and stainless steel that I need in the future, and I'm not going to be making that at home. But titanium, I can buy the wire and coil and cut it myself in my house and anodize it myself. Stainless steel, same thing. Coil and cut it myself. And that alone, like I was saying, right? This is like about $1,000 in materials. Just the rings. It's like I had about $300 worth of rings on hand, and I bought about $700 to finish this cube, and now I have a 30-pound lump of metal, and I added some ball bearings, and it's really cool. So, all right, here's tonight's progress. My thoughts on this are, it's 15 rows tall, right? So every other ring is a row. Each row is comprised of 2 layers, okay? And we've got 15 tall. I need them 15 wide on each side. So I'm going to build it out to 15. And what are we at? 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're at 9 across, 7 deep. So I'm going to go 6 more out to the side, 6 more out this way, right? And then I'll have this square flat surface to build up from. I don't like making cubes this way, but since I started out with a oddly shaped rectangular chunk in the first place that I had worked on previously, I'm just starting from that starting point now. Restarting from that starting point. I know what you're thinking, but Sean, why did you start it that way in the first place? Because I took 2 cubes and I combined them together, and thinking that I wanted to make another large cube, but I really don't. I'd much rather make a bunch of smaller ones and try and sell those, but that's also, I don't know. Everything has its ups and downs. That's a lot of trips to the post office for me, so we'll make 1 cube and a couple of small ones maybe if we have any leftover rings, and we'll try to sell 1 large cube. All right, with that, it is 10:40. Dang. I am going to get out of here. It's been almost 3 hours. My butt is numb. So thank you for hanging out. I do appreciate you. Follow along on my Linktree. Go join the socials. Go open up the web app in the Linktree. Join the Discord. Start your chainmail journey. And if you have any questions, join the Discord and ask away. With that, you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to get out of here. Have a wonderful night. Bye.